The Khazar tribe, one of the most powerful pagan tribes of pre-Islamic Arabs, was situated in the valley of Qura in the region of Najd, in the middle of the Arabian Peninsula. Their location held strategic significance due to their proximity to the trade route between Medina and Syria, allowing them to influence regional trade. Muhammad encountered the Khazar tribe for the first time during the Dumat al-Jandal expedition, and made an agreement with the tribal leaders to pass through the lands of the Valley of Qura without causing harm. Over time, conflicts arose between the Muslims and the Khazar tribe, especially due to famine, and this pagan tribe to convert to Islam during the Wars of Apostasy. The tribal chief was Uwayna bin Hizn, and an influential figure in the tribe was an elderly woman named Kharifa. Kharifa, whose real name was Fatima bint Rabia, held the title due to her prominence. She was married to Malik ibn Hudhayfa ibn Badr al-Fazari, a wealthy man of high social status. According to the Encyclopedia of Islam, Zayd ibn Haritha and his companions were attacked while commanding a trading expedition passing through Khazar lands. The people in his caravan were beaten, and their goods were plundered. In response, in the month of Ramadan of the 6th year of the Islamic calendar, Muhammad sent an army under the command of Zayd ibn Haritha to set up an expedition against the Khazar tribe. According to Sahih Muslim, this expedition was under the leadership of Abu Bakr. The prominent figures of Khazar were killed, and Kharifa was captured. Despite the Encyclopedia of Islam and some Muslims stating that Kharifa was not killed, she was captured, there are sources that claim she was killed. However, these sources are often considered unreliable and dismissed. I will recount what is written in these sources regarding the killing of Kharifa, then present the defense made by Muslims, and finally pose a few questions to my Muslim friends. First, let's look at what is written in Ibn Ishaq's The Life of Muhammad and Tabari's History of Tabari regarding the expedition of Zayd ibn Haritha against the Khazar tribe and the death of Kharifa. Zayd also raided Wadi al-Qura, where he met Banu Khazara, and some of his companions were killed. He himself was carried wounded from the field. Ward bin Amr bin Madash, one of Banu Sa'd bin Hudhal, was killed by one of Banu Badr, whose name was Sa'd bin Hudhaim. When Zayd came, he swore that he would use no ablution until he raided Banu Khazara, and when he recovered from his wounds, the apostle sent him against them with a force. He fought them in Wadi al-Qura and killed some of them. Qais bin al-Muzahar al-Yamuri killed Masada bin Hakama bin Malik bin Hudhayfa bin Badr, and Kharifa Fatima was taken prisoner. She was a very old woman, wife of Malik. Her daughter and Abdullah bin Masada were also taken. Zayd ordered Qais bin al-Muzahar to kill Kharifa, and he killed her cruelly by putting a rope to her 2 legs and to 2 camels and driving them until they rent her in 2. Then they brought Kharifa's daughter and Masada's son to the apostle. The daughter of Kharifa belonged to Salama bin Amr bin al-Aqwa, who had taken her. She held a position of honor among her people, and the Arabs used to say, "Had you been more powerful than Kharifa, you could have done no more." Salama asked the apostle to let him have her, and he gave her to him, and he presented her to his uncle, Hazn bin Abu Wabi, and she bare him Abdul Rahman bin Hazn. Al-Waqidi narrates the incident in almost the same manner but in more detail. To avoid repetition and not to bore, I'd like to share only what he wrote about the killing of Kharifa. Qais bin al-Mahasir killed Kharifa violently. He tied a rope between her legs, then tied it between 2 camels. She was an old lady. Abdullah bin Masada was killed, as was Qais bin al-Numan bin Masada bin Hakama bin Malik bin Badr. So, Ibn Ishaq, Tabari, and al-Waqidi have written that the elderly woman, Kharifa, was brutally killed, and her daughter was presented as a concubine, aka sex slave, to Hazn ibn Abu Wabi. Rahman al-Mubarakpuri, a prominent Islamic scholar of Indian origin who was awarded the first prize at the 1979 Islamic Conference for the Arabic version of his book, The Sealed Nectar, also wrote the following about the incident in his book. An expedition led by Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, or Zayd bin Haritha, was dispatched to Wadi al-Qura in Ramadan 6 Hijri after Khazar's sect had made an attempt at the Prophet's life. Following the morning prayer, the detachment was given orders to raid the enemy. Some of them were killed and others captured. Karife's attempt at the Prophet's life recoiled on her, and the 30 horsemen she had gathered and sustained to implement her evil scheme were all killed. Muslims, by pointing out the narrative about this incident in Sahih Muslim, argue that since it only mentions the woman being taken as a captive, the event either never occurred or happened contrary to the command of Muhammad. Moreover, by citing various narrations and hadiths that prohibit killing women and children, they assert that such an event never took place. Some go further, claiming that only Bukhari and Muslim are reliable, choosing to discredit and accuse Ibn Ishaq, Tabari, and Al-Waqidi. Let's take a look at what is written in Sahih Muslim. We fought against the Fazara, and Abu Bakr was the commander over us. He had been appointed by the Messenger of Allah. When we were only at an hour's distance from the water of the enemy, Abu Bakr ordered us to attack. We made a halt during the last part of the night to rest, and then we attacked from all sides and reached their watering place where a battle was fought. Some of the enemies were killed and some were taken prisoners. I saw a group of persons that consisted of women and children. I was afraid lest they should reach the mountain before me, so I shot an arrow between them and the mountain. When they saw the arrow, they stopped. So I brought them, driving them along. Among them was a woman from Banu Fazara. She was wearing a leather coat. With her was her daughter, who was one of the prettiest girls in Arabia. I drove them along until I brought them to Abu Bakr, who bestowed that girl upon me as a prize. So we arrived in Medina. I had not yet disrobed her when the Messenger of Allah met me in the street and said, "Give me that girl, O Salama." I said, "Messenger of Allah, she has fascinated me." I had not yet disrobed her. When on the next day the Messenger of Allah again met me in the street, he said, "O Salama, give me that girl. May God bless your father." I said, "She is for you, Messenger of Allah. By Allah, I have not yet disrobed her." The Messenger of Allah sent her to the people of Mecca and surrendered her as ransom for a number of Muslims who had been kept as prisoners at Mecca. In the narration in Muslim, we see the first caliph, Abu Bakr, leading the expedition instead of Zayd bin Haritha. However, regardless of whether it was Abu Bakr or Zayd leading the expedition, we still see the action being carried out under the command of Muhammad. Additionally, the narration in Muslim mentions a woman wearing a leather garment and her beautiful daughter, whose description aligns with the daughter of Karife mentioned in other accounts. However, Sahih Muslim is mentioning the fate of Karife's daughter, who was sold as ransom while shadowing what happened to Karife. Now, I'd like to ask a few questions to my Muslim friends. 1. Some of you prefer to accept only the narration in Sahih Muslim, stating, "Our Prophet forbade killing women and children, thus Karife was not killed." But there is a narration in Sahih al-Bukhari approving the killing of idolatrous women and children. In the narration, it is written as follows. According to Sab's narration, when the Prophet was asked about the idolatrous women and children killed in a night raid, he said, "They are from them." They are from them, meaning, they are of the same people, all pagans, therefore, you can kill them. How do you interpret this narration that sanctions the killing of pagan women and children? 2. You belittle or accuse individuals like Tabari, Ibn Ishaq, and Al-Waqidi of being liars based on the narratives they presented about Karife. However, when needed, you don't hesitate to use them as sources, showcasing the texts they've written to glorify religion. Doesn't this inconsistency bother you? 3. You're using the narration included in Sahih Muslim as evidence to reject the notion of an elderly woman being killed in 2 parts, implying that Muslim is a more reliable and accepted source for you. Then why do you sometimes reject hadiths or narrations found in Sahih Muslim when I mention them? Is it because they don't align with the Islam you've shaped in your mind? 4. In Islam, captured women are either used as concubines or sold. No one buys a woman in her 80s, nor does anyone desire her as their concubine. Historical sources indicate that Arabs and various peoples had specific expectations and designated roles for war captives. They wouldn't feed or hide someone who wouldn't serve their purposes. So, why do you think that they did not kill the Kharife? 5. Doesn't the constant repetition of "I had not yet disrobed her" by Salama, the man who captured the beautiful daughter as a concubine in Muslims' narration, indicate that concubines were taken directly for sex, that their consent wasn't sought? They were not voluntarily becoming a man's wife, as some of you claim. Don't you see that most narrations about concubinage align with this line of thought? 6. Muslim mentions that the beautiful girl, taken as a captive by Salama, was sent as ransom. Stating her mother, he says, she was wearing a leather garment, but he doesn't mention anything about her fate. If money was needed for ransom, and assuming the mother, who wore the leather garment, wasn't killed, then why wasn't she also sent as ransom?